from the outside is due, the scientists say, to the fact that his thinking has proceeded at such lightning-like speed that he was unable to watch the wheels go round. The only thing of which he is conscious is the final result or sum at the bottom of the column called his hunch. He is not aware of the addition and subtraction which his mind went through to get it for him. Easily excited. Off like a shot is a term often applied to the Thoracic. He is the most easily excited of all types, but also the most easily calmed. He recovers from every mood more quickly and more completely than other types. Under the influence of emotion, he often does things for which he is sorry immediately afterward, on the spur of the moment. This type usually does a thing quickly or not at all. He is a gun that is always cocked. So he hits a great many things in the course of a lifetime and leads the most exciting existence of any type, being able to get thrills out of the most commonplace event because of seeing elements in it which others overlook. He finds in everyday life more novelty than others ever see. The adventurous. Romance and adventure always interest this type. He lives for thrills and novel reactions, and usually spares no pain or money to get them. A very slangy but very expressive term used frequently by these people is, "I got a real kick out of that." This craving for adventure, suspense, and zest usually lures this type into speculation, gambling, and various games of chance. The danger in flying, deep-sea diving, auto racing, and similar thrills have a strong appeal for this type. So strong that practically every man or woman who follows these professions is of this type. Tires of sameness. The Thoracic soon tires of the same suit, the same gown, the same house, the same town, and even the same girl. He wrings the utmost out of each experience so quickly and so completely that he is forever on the lookout for new worlds to conquer. Past experiences are to him as so many lemons out of which he has taken all the juice. He anticipates those of the future as so many more to be utilized in the same way. Like responsive people. We all like answers. We want to be assured that what we have said or done has registered. The Thoracic is always saying or doing something and can't understand why other people are so unresponsive. He is as responsive as a radio wire. Everything hits the mark with him and he lets you know it. So, naturally, he enjoys the same from others and considers those less expressive than himself stiff, formal, or dull. The kind of person the Thoracic likes best is one sufficiently like himself to nod, smile, and show that he fully understands, but who will not interrupt his stream of talk. People he dislikes. The stolid, indifferent, or cold are people the Thoracic comes very near disliking. The evident self-complacency and immobility are things he does not understand at all, and with which he has little patience. Such people seem to him to be cold, unfeeling, almost dead. So he steers clear of them. It was surely a Thoracic who first called these people sticks. But the reason for their acting like sticks will be apparent in another chapter. His pet aversions. Whereas the Alimentive avoids people he does not care for, the Thoracic is inclined to betray his aversions. He occasionally delights to put people he dislikes at a disadvantage by his wit or satire. The stony individual who walks through life like an Ionian pillar is a complete mystery to the Thoracic, and the pillar returns the compliment. We do not like anything we do not understand, and we seldom understand anything that differs decidedly from ourselves. Thus we distrust and dislike foreigners, and to a greater or lesser extent other families, people from other sections of the country, etc. The Easterner and Westerner has a natural distrust of each other, and the Civil War is not the only reason for the incompatibility of Southerners and Northerners. So it is with individuals. Those who differ too widely in type never understand each other. They have too little of the chief thing that builds friendships, emotions in common. The forgiving man. If you have once been a real friend of the Thoracic, and a quarrel comes between you, he may be ever so bitter and biting in the moment of its anger, but in most cases he will forgive you eventually. Really forgets disagreements. It is not as easy for other types to forgive. They often refrain from attempting a reconciliation. But the Thoracic's forgiveness is not only spontaneous but genuine. The Alimentive bears no grudges because it is too much trouble. The Thoracic finds it hard to maintain a grudge because he gets over it just as he gets over everything else. His anger oozes away or he wakes up some fine morning and finds, like the boy recovering from the chicken pox, that he simply hasn't it any more. Diseases he is most susceptible to. Acute diseases are the ones chiefly affecting this type. Everything in his organism tends to suddenness and not to sameness. Just as he is inclined to get into and out of psychological experiences quickly, so he is inclined to sudden illnesses and to sudden recuperations. A Thoracic seldom has any kind of chronic ailment. If he acquires a superabundance of quadruples, he is in danger of apoplexy. The combination of extreme Thoracic and extreme Alimentive tendencies is the cause of this disease. Likes fancy foods. Variety and novelty in food are much enjoyed by this type. The Alimentive likes lots of rich food, but he is not so desirous of various or freak dishes. But the Thoracic specializes in them. You cannot mention any kind of strange new dish whose investigation won't appeal to someone in the crowd, and that person is always somewhat Thoracic. It gives him another promise of newness. Foreign dishes of all kinds depend for the introduction into this country almost entirely upon these florid patrons. According to the statements of restaurateurs, this type says, "I will try anything once." Many-course dinners, if the food is good, are especially popular with them. The trimmings at dinner. Out of the ordinary surroundings in which to dine are always welcome to this type. The hangings, pictures, and furniture mean much to him. Most people like music and meals, but to the Thoracic it is almost indispensable. He is so alive in every nerve, so keyed up, and has such intense capacity for enjoyment of many things simultaneously, that he demands more than other types. An attentive waiter who ministers to every movement and anticipates every wish is also a favorite with the Thoracic when out for dinner. Sensitive to his surroundings. Colorful surroundings are more necessary to the Thoracic than to other types. The ever-changing fashion in house decorations are welcome innovations to him. He soon grows tired of a thing regardless of how much he liked it to begin with. Take notice amongst your friends, and you will see that the girl who changes the furniture all around every few weeks is invariably of this type. "It makes me feel that I have changed my location and takes the place of a trip," explained one girl not long ago. "Wants something different." The exact color of hangings, wallpaper, interior decorations, and accessories are matter of vital importance to this type, whereas the Alimentive demand comfort. The Thoracic asks for something different, something that catches and holds the eyes, that makes an instantaneous impression upon the onlooker, and gives him one more thing by which to remember the personality of the one who lives there. This type considers his room and home as part of himself, and takes the pains with them which he bestows upon his clothes. When he is rich. Wealth to the Thoracic means unlimited opportunity for achieving the unusual in everything. His tastes are more extravagant than those of other types. Uncommon works of art are usually found in the homes of this type. The most extraordinary things from the most extraordinary places are a special preference with him. He carries out his desire for attention here as in everything else, and what he buys will serve that end directly or indirectly. Fashion and flair. Flair aptly describes the quality with the pure Thoracic design in all that touches him and his personality. It must have worth and go and distinctiveness. It must be the latest and the thing. He is the last type of all to submit to wearing last year's suit, singing last year's songs, or driving is a last year's model. Likes dash. The Thoracic wants everything he wears, drives, lives in, or owns to get across, to make an impression. The fat man loves comfort above all else.